I'm Shirley Neesmith from Coolidge, Georgia, and I had the opportunity to work at Hearst Boiler for 20 years. Over the 20 years, I have retired 3 times, I believe, and they were always real nice to let me work whenever I wanted to or whenever I could. And I enjoyed working on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then spending money on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. When I came by years and years ago and saw Mr. Hearst putting up these long blue buildings right by the highway on 319, I said then that Mr. Hearst had a vision for the future, not just for his family, nor for the Boilermaker, but for the people in the community to have a job close by. He and Ms. Hearst both had taught his 4 children that work ethic was the key to success. Mr. Hearst told them, whatever you do, be good to your employees because they are the one that's making us a living.
Right.
And they have always been over and beyond good to people that works with them. It's just a good place to work. I was hired to be a telephone operator. I always remember when I answered the phone, there was 3 things to remember. There was somebody on the other end that was either looking for a boiler to buy, or they were looking for a part for their boiler, or they needed a boiler fixed. And the Hearst family had all 3 available because we had a bunch of salesmen that were top-notch, that were really interested in selling boilers. That's how they made their living. Mr. Hearst was a Boilermaker to Georgia and America. He was a Boilermaker to the world. I thought I was just going to retire because I had just started drawing my Social Security and I was getting rich. So I retired and went to work at Dollywood and Pigeon Forge for 6 weeks as a work camper. But I came back home and then I got bored and I called them and they were ready for another receptionist. One of the girls was going to have a baby, I think, and it worked out good. And very quiet. He didn't do a lot of, gabbing and stuff like that.
He was all business.
He was all business, but he was very polite to everybody. Mr. Hearst, his main thing was to treat people right and honest. And that's how this business has survived all these years. Well, so many people that would call in to say that it's so good to hear a voice.
Yes.
Because nowadays you don't.
No.
I had a lot of people that would call from like Utah, and they would say, "Oh, I think you're from Georgia. My wife is from Atlanta."
Oh, wow.
I said, "Well, I'm from South Georgia," and there's a difference between South Georgia and Atlanta. We had a meal, and it was once a year. The man from Poses in Panacea, Florida, was the man that first bought the first boiler that Mr. Hearst built.
Wow.
And every year since that time, back in '67 or so, we would have a meal, and that Posey would cater it. Come up with
his truck from
with
Florida.
truck on and had
Seafood. And
always had choice of seafood or steak.
wow.
And it was a delicious meal.
And it was the family.
And at that time, at the Christmas party, Hearst Boiler people the family would always have gifts and prizes, and it just made everybody feel like part of the real family. But not only did Mr. Hearst's children keep running the business, but now their children.
Right.
Mr. and Ms. Hearst did a good job.
Hey now, I'm Jesse Coffey, and I'm Sales Director at Oilon US. And first off, I would like to congratulate Hearst on 60 years of being in the business. That is no small feat, and I'm honored to have been a part of this journey with Hearst. My dad worked for Hearst Boiler for a little over 42 years, and so is my uncle. He's been here well over 40 years as well. And I told my daddy that I would never get in the boiler business, but here I am. I worked for Hearst for a little over 5 years in aftermarket parts, and that's one thing that really makes this place great is the people. Yep, he sold solid fuel boilers, and so I traveled with him every summer. to go see all of his clients, mainly up the eastern seaboard, and where forestry was a really big business. And so I would spend all summer traveling with him. And when I got back to school and people asked me where I've been to, 25 different states, but never went to any of the big cities or anything. It was all small sawmill towns, but it seemed like everybody knew Charlie everywhere we went. Charlie definitely had a presence about him. We definitely miss him. Always just lighthearted, always had a joke to tell, and just really good guy to be around. There's a saying that once you get into this business, you can't get out. And I think that has a lot to do with the people that you get to work with. And just the boiler industry is such a tight-knit community, and everybody knows everybody, and everybody gets along real good. And once you really develop those relationships, you just don't want to leave them. Well, there's a lot to be said about being a family-owned industry. You don't have to wait months to hear back from a board on whether you get to go ahead to make a change or not. It could take a 15-minute phone call, and if it's a great idea and it opens up things for the future and helps our customers out, then everybody gets on board really quickly and we can make really quick changes. Mr. Gene Hurst, he was like a granddaddy to me. I've known him ever since I was born. And so, when I look back, there's not a whole lot that I've ever received in my life that didn't come from a boiler, and especially Hurst Boiler. But to have a local family-owned company to do the things that Hurst has done is no small feat. So yeah, you don't make it in this business for 60 years by accident. It takes purpose, and I believe one of the main purposes here is just treating people like they matter, picking up the phone when they call you, and also just having what you need on the shelf, having the parts that you need, and having the personnel available to hit the road when they need to hit the road, and always showing up and always being there. It shouldn't be that complicated to know that if you treat people like they matter, things work out, but Hurst has definitely proven that.
Hi, my name's Kenneth Kelly. I work in the Hurst Boiler Engineering Department. This is a more recent development that's come along with the advent of the 3D printers that are used. A lot of people are using them nowadays, but saw an opportunity there that where instead of trying to carry a full-size boiler to a show, we could, get a more miniature, easier to transport to all the trade shows, any trade shows, and or to anybody that needed to see
Like
this
you say,
type of
a
material.
picture is worth 1,000 words, but an animation or a 3D model is even better.
Is even better,
All right,
yes.
say that again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, well, the old terminology that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, an animation or a 3D model is worth 1,000 questions, answering 1,000 questions.
1,000 more, right.
Yes. So,
So now you're the future, talk about the future is automation and pick and click.
okay, well, what I'm trying to do there is create a scenario that even though we're a customized boiler company, and that's one of the things that I feel like we're proud of, that we are not just cookie cutter boilers, that we can build and help the customer more so in being able to customize our product to fit the customer's needs. So therefore, I started looking at, well, what, even in a customized world, there is some cookie cutter effects that can be done, redundancy, yeah. And so what I was trying to accomplish there is be able to set up a scenario where the user, our teams, fellow teammates, would pull a copy of a particular type of boiler that they are required to get a hold of to do a sales order, go by a sales order. And then using that sales order to pick and click their way through various questions that we'd have in the model, and the model would take that and morph into those features to where the
have a series of options to match the sales orders.
Yes, yes, yes. And take care of the more mundane parts where it would free up our engineering department to do more serious
And so then from there you could generate
Customized
a customized bill of
parts
materials.
and all.
then you're looking at doing this to represent the future of how you're handling
Yeah, and
engineering
then,
at Hearst.
yes, that would create also the fab drawings on there to send straight to the shop to be built. So once the pick and clicks are satisfied, hopefully we'll have drawings to send out to those and bill of material to send over to warehouse or
Right through all that and then just.
okay. This is what we see as the future for engineering, that that way we can satisfy all these various points of being able to still be customizable to fit the customer's needs, and yet we can do it in an efficient manner.
Okay, I'm Bruce Coffey. I'm Chief Engineer for Hearst Boiler Company. I've been here for 46 years this go around. I actually started back in 1974 when I was still in high school. Me and Tommy Hearst were best buddies, and there was some more guys, but their daddy, Mr. Hearst, asked Tommy if he could round up some help, you know. So I started working here, you know, part-time, as there was time, with a wire brush mostly and a paintbrush in the other hand. And Mr. Hearst, he would bring in used equipment, and we'd clean it up and install it somewhere with a boiler. And they decided we needed to get to where we could build boilers. And you have to have certificates and stamps from the ASME to be able to do that. And so they said, this is what we need for you to do, you know. So when I got out of school, Mr. Hearst, he had to appoint somebody to be the chief engineer. And so he picked me. And so I've been there ever since. So, okay, when I came back, we started working on getting the stamps for here. Mr. Hearst, you know, we'd meet with him and all, and we'd tell him what he had to do, and he couldn't believe it was going to be so expensive and all. He said, whatever you need, we'll get it for you. And so we did. We kept on working at the thing, working at it as we could, and eventually we got a set of stamps, and we was the world's newest boiler maker there for a while. There's been a lot of changes, you know. When we first got the authorization to build boilers, we didn't have any boiler lines to build, so we had to develop, you know, all of these scotches and HRTs. And, you know, the main thing that Mr. Hearst liked to do was solid fuel boilers. I mean, it was a niche that nobody was in, you know. And if a sawmill needed a boiler to dry lumber or run a steam carriage or anything on their boiler, well, they'd call him and he'd build something that could take their sawdust, burn it, make steam, use the dry lumber or run the sawmill. And all that's changed a lot over the years. There's still a real good market for us in the sawmill industry. You know, we've changed product lines. We've gone to systems that are bigger and bigger boilers, burn a wider and wider variety of waste material with reciprocating grates and automatic ash removal. But now we build a lot that don't even have a boiler on them. You know, they're just a stag unit that makes a combustible gas and a combustion chamber, and then we dry lumber with a continuous dry kill. All of that has been a very, very good industry for us. And at the present time, that's continuing. Just about every sawmill is looking for ways to consume more of their byproducts, since they have actually lost much of the paper industry. So they're doing something else with their residues, and we're working to try to help them do that. We have designed several iterations of our Scotch boilers. We've got some very solid lines. We're proud of those boilers, and you know, they're state of the art right now. We have all kinds of boiler partners, burner partners with our boilers, and that puts us in a good position with all of our reps. They can rep 2 or 3 different burners and tell us which one they want, and we'll put it on there for them. Very few of our competitors really have a lot of latitude. You know, they build their own burner, probably about the same as it was back in the 1950s, you know. Controls may have come up a little bit, but I think we're ahead of them on that too. You know, we've got very good control lines. Sean Sellers has done a wonderful job over in his department and continues to stay on the leading edge. A lot of the new things are actually old, you know, like we're building boilers now for burning coal, and it's been a while. We used to do that a lot. Used to build more coal-fired than we did wood-fired, and so that's interesting. Yeah, we've got 60 years under our belt, and if we'll stay innovative, we'll continue on for another 60 years doing that same thing. And I believe our best days are still in front of us.
Hi, my name's Hunter Rogers. I'm from Thomasville, Georgia. I went to school in Kennesaw State University in Atlanta, Georgia. My Aunt Tamara mentioned that she had went to school with a guy named Ray Pierce and said that he was looking for a salesman at Hearst Boiler. And she told me, she said, Hunter, this is a great opportunity because positions do not come available here very often. I came and I interviewed with Ray Pierce and didn't know what a boiler was. But what I did know is it felt like home. Hearst is a family-owned and operated business. I can honestly say you can walk around the office and it's open door policy. I can walk right into the president's office and it's such a welcoming environment. Seeing the Hearst family in a business that is so large but operates as if to be able to come up with an innovative design and be flexible for the needs of a client in the marketplace, to me seemed like the kind of business I wanted to be in. And I later came to find out Jeff Hearst was involved with a nonprofit that I've been involved with for years. A friend of mine had a drinking and driving accident and was paralyzed. And a nonprofit local to Thomasville called Lives Without Limits came and helped out my buddy Turner Caldwell. And I seen Jeff Hearst there as a major sponsor representing Hearst Boiler. And I'd never noticed them before, but now as I began to work with them and come to find out they're not just involved in the marketplace through what they sell, but also by what they give and what they can offer to try and help others. And as I tell a lot of people, people do business with people they like and people they trust. And you can trust Hearst Boiler, you can trust the family. As a sales account manager at Hearst Boiler, one thing, one of the most primary, one thing as a sales account manager at Hearst Boiler that I love the most is the relationships with the manufacturer's rep network. When they call in, they don't get the front desk, they don't get an answering machine, and they don't get a robot or somebody in India. They get me. And so to me, that is one of the best exhibitions of what a family-owned business is. You're calling and you're getting someone who represents the family. You're getting a real person on the other end of the line who cares about what you're calling about, who cares about the client that you're representing. And to me, that's the best thing about Hearst Boiler, is the family-owned and operated environment that we work in and how we carry that to the marketplace.
Great, perfect. Excellent. Thank you so much.
My name's Donna K. Johnson. I came to Hearst in 2018. I worked at Archbold Memorial Hospital in the accounting department, and before that I had been at other manufacturing plants here in town. When I came to Hearst, I didn't know anybody here, but it didn't take long. We hit it off. Miss Edna was still coming in to the office. She wasn't working, and Mr. Jean had already passed away. I didn't have a chance to meet him. It always felt easy, even from the beginning. I love the campus that we drive in on every morning. It's beautiful. The pond. I love my job. We also have third generation Hearst family here, in addition to Terry, Hayward, Tommy, and Jeff. I feel like I get along well with everybody, and I'm just here to help them, and I like what I do, and I feel like they are happy with what I do. It was an easy transition to get to know each other because I wasn't holding back, and they don't hold back a lot either. So it was very quick to get to know one another and develop the trust and be able to work very well together, I think the family and employees have heard me say, oh, that sounds like a nice to have and not a need to have. Just being kind but firm and just very forthright is something I think that they appreciate. I hope so. I know I appreciate it when roles reversed. Usually the gnomes that I like, you can't see their face, but he's special because he's Florida, so I like him regardless. But I started liking them, I don't know, probably about 4 years ago, and it was before they become so mainstream. Now you can find them everywhere, but back then there really weren't that many. My sister actually brought me one home from Vegas. And so
That was the first one?
Mm-hmm. And I don't know where it's at. I put it up, I'm sure, but gosh, I don't even know how many I would have at this point. But
my name is Denise Bracewell. I've been here 43 years in August. I started out as a regular file clerk to help Terry catch up on her filing. And then a month later, she hired me full time, and my son was born in December, Josh. And then my husband started in '86. He's over manufacturing. Josh is the engineering manager. You know, the Hurst is my family. Mr. and Miss Hurst was like my mom and dad, because I spent more time with them at one point in my life when I came here than I did with my own mom and dad. The original home that they live in now was up at the end of the engineering building. Where the engineering building is, the part that comes out this way that's QC was actually their swimming pool. And they filled it in and built us an accounting building. But the other part was the opening between the two parts that you drive between. Mm-hmm. There was a smaller building, and it had a brown wooden front to it. Tommy's office was on one side, Mr. Hurst's office was on the other side, and you walked in, and there was a spiral staircase, and you went up that spiral staircase to engineering. And at the time, I think there was, when I started, I think there was Charlie and David, and I think there was either 4 or 5. And I lived, there was a double wide we just remodeled and put a new clinic in. There was a double wide mobile home there, which was Terry and her first husband's house. And my son, Josh, and I moved in there, and we lived there. I've done everything in accounting, job costs, general ledger, payroll. I'm receivables and credit manager now, payables. And Terry really just taught me everything that I know about accounting. Miss Edna, she would treat me like another daughter that she didn't have. And Mr. Hurst, if I got out of line, he let me know it. He treated me like a daughter. Whoever needed him, whatever they needed, he would go get them, or he'd get the money and he'd give it to them, and he was like, he really treated everybody that worked for him like they were his family. The customers were number one in his book. He gave you his word on something, he stood behind his word. His word was his word, and he stuck to it. There's not a one of them that would not give you the shirt off their back. They say employees, but most of the time, it's family. Can't think of another place that when you have employees that have worked for the same place 15, 20, 30, 40 years, some 45 years. I think it says a lot for the company and the people that run it and own it. I mean, honestly, it's my family's life. I know that my kids come and eat Sunday dinner at our house. There's been some tense discussions because I'm in accounting. Josh does engineering and Ricky does manufacturing. My number one priority is to make sure that I get the equipment billed for and collected. Josh is wanting to make sure that it's engineered properly. Ricky wants to make sure that it's put together properly. And, you know, so we have different areas that we're all passionate about. But when it all comes down to it, it's Hearst Boiler. My two sisters worked here part-time, answering the phone. After they retired, Terry reached out to them and they came in and they answered the phone. So there's a lot more family than just the Hearst family. They're my family. My kids and my husband think of them as family. All the boys are like my brothers. Mr. Hearst was such a kind gentleman. He is the one that taught my husband everything he knows about boilers. No other company around, no matter what they say, no matter what they advertise, there's no other company like Hearst Boiler.
Hi, I'm Haley with Hearst Boiler and Welding Company. I've been here consistently for the past 5 years, but I've really been brought up in this business. Both of my parents have worked here over 30 years. So my first jobs here were when I was a young child on my sick days. I would actually help in the office. I would help pass out sales orders back before emails. So I've been here a long time. I may have only been working here a few years consistently, but I feel like I've been working here for 40 years. My mom would have me write the names on the sales orders, and I would take them and put them in the mail slots back before email. So it feels like I've been working here a long time. I'm the daughter of Tommy and Julie Hearst. I'm their oldest child, and I'm the oldest granddaughter. What it was like growing up here, it was very interesting. They tell me stories about whenever they had their offices downtown, they had a safe and they would put me in the safe for my naps because I was such a little treasure. But I'm sure it's because I was probably crying. But I spent a lot of my early times here with my grandparents and my parents. I grew up right on the property in the pond house, and I lived my first 4 years right here on the property in front of the pond. In the summer times I would come and work. I've really worked with some great people over the years. I worked with Ray Pierce and Miss Barbara in sales back a long time ago, in high school even. I worked in purchasing with Larry and Joanne Pullen. I worked in parts with Hiram Walker. I worked with Renee back when she was in parts and purchasing. And I've really made my way through every area here, and I've learned a lot along the way. And it's really helped me see how the company runs overall, just getting the whole picture. And today my role is in sales. I work in international sales and also in solid fuel sales. And I still get to use my connections within the company to make sure things are taken care of for our customers. Actually in 2009 I did work here when I was in college. And back in those days it was all faxes and talking on the phone. And I feel so blessed that I'm here this time, because waiting on those fax receipts and just the way things were done back in 2009 and earlier, I'm glad to be of this time. I work with the international team, and I also work with the solid fuel team. They're kind of two separate, but they do work together because Dennis does sell the solid fuels. And also work with our executives, Tommy Hearst and Hayward Hearst, on anything they might need. So I work in those areas as well. One new thing we've started is our boiler basics class, and it's just a way for our employees to learn the fundamentals of boilers and how they work, so they can greater understand their job and how all the pieces of a boiler fit together. We do 8 weeks of sessions, and then at the end we do a boiler room tour, a working boiler room. We actually had people that saw it on social media reach out that wanted to take the training that weren't even employees. I'm incredibly proud of my grandfather and what he was able to accomplish in his lifetime. I had the privilege of working with him back in 2009 before I took a job in education. I worked right between my dad and my grandfather, Mr. Hurst, and that was really neat to work alongside him and see how his mind works. He was a man of few words, but he was the kind of man that you naturally looked up to, and he wanted to do right by his employees and build a great product. He had worked for some other boiler companies and he was not treated fairly, and he wanted to do a better job with his employees. I'm incredibly excited about our 60th anniversary, and I'm looking forward to carrying this business into the next 60 years.
Jamie Talbot. I've been with Hurst Boiler and Welding 26 years this month. Originally born and raised in Huntsville, Alabama. Earned my degree from UAH. UAH is University of Alabama in Huntsville. Moved to South Georgia. I was commuting to Tallahassee, Florida for work, so I looked for something closer. We happened to be driving by one day from Moultrie, and someone said, hey, they need engineers. So stopped in, filled out an application. 3 months later, I became a Hurst Boiler employee. First person I met was James Oliver. He was our senior engineer underneath Bruce Coffey. He passed away about 7 or 8 years ago, but learned a lot from him. He was a good person, and we miss him every day. We think to ourselves, what would James say right now about this design or calculations or what to do next? Originally had planned on going into aerospace engineering and moved south and landed in Thomasville, and this is the closest industry that needed engineers, and it's been a complete learning curve. Throughout my curriculum at UAH, we touched on a little bit of everything, and power boilers and heat transfer was one of those. Thomasville Center of the Arts has what they call an unvacant lot, and it's an empty space downtown between two buildings, and we do things like monuments and statues. There's a large guitar that holds potted plants. There's a guitar man, all made out of steel, done by one of our very good fabricators in the back. And these are fundraisers, these are commemorative events. Well, I've played multiple roles at Hurst Boiler, anywhere from checking ASME code calculations for correctness, being up to date, making sure our boilers fit the bill of the ASME code, requisitioning components, whether it be materials to build the boiler or control items to operate the boiler. We have developed probably 5 new boiler lines, which have been very competitive, increase efficiency. We try to keep the footprint as small as possible because we have to fit these boilers in very tight spaces sometimes. We also do a lot with biomass and solid fuel boilers, which is very big for wood producing companies that have a byproduct of wood chips, rice hulls, peanut hulls. You can burn just about anything and turn that into electricity or heat for a process of some other sort. After you finish a process of manufacturing wood or waste products from produce or even municipal waste, you have to dispose of it somehow. Usually you have to sell it to somebody. But in what we do with our biomass boilers, we burn the material, create steam. Steam turns a steam turbine, which turns a generator, and you have electricity. So it can pay for itself. Payoff is very nice. We have an LPX model, S250, S250W, and a VIX, which is a vertical tube boiler. And they've all been very big sellers, good service life, very efficient. And one of our engineers who is retired but still works with us actually developed an economizer that fits inside of the smoke box of the boilers. So virtually no additional footprint is taken up, but we can increase the efficiency of our boilers 1.5 to 3%. We have to show the both physical SME calculations to withstand the heat and withstand pressure, have proper flow, and also prove the thermodynamics to prove that we are getting out of it what we say we are. And that goes under review and gets approval, and it's what we call a U-stamped Section 8 vessel. I see a strong future for Hearst Boiler. Sales are increasing, keeps our guys busy inside and out in the shop.
I am Jessie Palmer, and I have handled the warranty department at Hearst Boiler for almost 10 years. I actually never intended to come here. It was just for a short stint. I had some medical issues going on, so I came in and I filled in a role in warranty. And funny enough, I fell in love with what I did. So I just learned to love it. We kind of changed a lot of things through the years. A lot of our software has changed. We've upgraded a lot of stuff, so we've put a lot of new stuff into play, and it's just been really fun. This past year, I started dabbling in social media, and from there I have gone into the marketing department some, so now I'm warranty and marketing. But I just have a lot of fun ideas popping in my brain all the time, and with Jeff as my, I guess you could say, like, mentor, it's just, he's always one step ahead of the game. Like, he's always thinking of the latest, greatest thing that, based off of what he's looking at and what he's thinking about, it gives me great ideas. So the 3D boilers was just a fun thing. We had an employee that could do exactly what we needed, and it worked for him as well. And it gave him a job opportunity that we never even thought would have been something here. So it's just really worked out for everybody. I knew that it would be a learning curve of getting them over to the idea of it, just because they are so specific to our boilers and they're so detailed. So it did take a little bit of a nudge to get it going, but once we did get it going and we had the first one shown, it was like it just took off. Its doors opens, it has flame, like, you know, it has our safety relief valves, our 3-valve bypass, it has everything. I mean, it just blew everyone's minds. I just think it would be a great way to show people, like, what boilers do, how you can set them up, how they can be customized to every single person. And sometimes customers want to know what that's going to look like, and they have a chance to see what it's going to look like with this. We are planning to throw Manufacturing Day this year at Hearst Boiler. It's something that we're super looking forward to. We wanted to do it in the past, but we've never had a chance to, so we're really putting everything we have into it this year. Our students can sit there and talk with our sales department and learn what all they're putting into it and what all they're customizing for our customers, and then they can see it in real time right there. They can touch it, they can open the doors, they can see the tubes, they can see the burner be put in and fire start flickering. So it really helps them to see what all it is without putting anyone in danger in our shop. There's a great sense of responsibility, and there's a little bit of nervousness, but mostly there's excitement. I've been here for almost 10 years, and one thing that I can truly say is we're a family, and I genuinely love every single person that I get to work with on a daily basis. I believe that what sets Hearst Boiler aside is how personal we keep things in the building, outside the building, with our customers, with our vendors, with anybody. And I just say that to say I want to keep Hearst Boiler exactly who they are in the next 60 years and just make it greater.
I'm Josh Bracewell. I've been here at Hearst Boiler for almost 24 years now. I started out when I was 19 as a drafter here in the engineering department. First main project was integrating a part number system and bill of material onto our drawings and automating it with our code guy at the time that wrote Visual Basic. It was very rudimentary then, but it was cutting edge for us back in 2002? Yeah, oh gosh. He wrote the software to work with CAD to put a part number system on our bill of material to track parts. Before that, you'd get a description of a part and it was up to you to find it. Honestly, it's kind of like night and day. When I started, we were in CAD, but things were kind of rudimentary and there was still like a board drafting mentality to how things were done. Whereas now we're in 3D modeling. We're using LiDAR scanners to scan our boiler room so that we can make accurate plans for our install guys to go in, pull a wall out, put a new boiler in, close everything back up without having to figure it out once they get there. It's made planning a job 100 times easier, because if we have a question about a job site, we don't have to send somebody 10 hours away with a tape measure to find out how high a stand is or where a rafter's coming through the room. We've got a scan, we pull it up, and we measure and find out ourselves. It makes what's called a point cloud. You sit the scanner down, it does 360-degree spin, and each scan takes in like a few million points of reference everywhere and maps it. You move it around to where it can see whatever you want in the scan. It remembers how everything's linked up, and you get a 3D representation of the whole building. Yeah, I mean, it was expensive, but it was money well spent, and it's money that will easily earn back after 2 or 3 jobs. The sooner we can get involved with a project, the sooner we can iron out the details and make sure it's set up, 1, how the customer wants it, 2, how it's going to operate properly and give them the most efficient boiler that we can. If we don't get into it till too late in the game, someone's going to be making a decision that they're not fully informed on, and we're going to end up scrambling to fix it before it goes out the door. I've known the Hearst my entire life. My parents both worked here essentially since I was born, as long as I can remember. I remember coming to a company pool party when I was 4 at Mr. and Miss Hearst's house. I worked for Miss Edna and Terry in high school at a shop they owned downtown before I came out here. In high school, I worked for a year, my senior year, here as like an intern in the engineering department, and then afterwards came back after college, and I've been here ever since. I like the people here, and I kind of fit in well, so it felt natural. Boilers are in our blood, and you want to talk to my dad, best topic to get the thing started is boilers. And he'll talk your ears off about them because he knows basically everything there is to know about them. Anymore, it's he and I talking about boilers and her telling us both to be quiet. We're 60% of the way to 100. It's a big deal just because it's 60 years. I mean, I'm 42. They've been around longer than I have, and we're not slowing down. I don't know of many other manufacturers in the area that have been around as long as we have. And some that have, you can see they're kind of waning a little bit, but we're going strong.
I'm Blake Lehman, Quality Control Manager at Hearst Boiler Company. I've been here 14 years now. So before I joined Hearst Boiler's team, I was a state inspector for the Georgia State Fire Marshal's Office. I did boiler inspections, jurisdictional inspections, boiler inspections, elevators, and amusement rides. I actually worked here 7 years prior to that career as well. When I was 18, I started at Hearst Boiler Company. I got a world of field experience. I saw a lot of different manufacturers of boilers. I inspected them for safety, installation inspection, and so forth. I implemented a lot of my experience during that inspection tenure with the state, as well as added to my experience previously. Previously, I was a QC inspector where I cut my teeth. I learned the inspection process from the ground up. I was an NDT inspector, non-destructive testing, and I brought all of that knowledge back in my second tenure here. And I was already familiar with a lot of the quality control staff here. The previous quality control manager, I already knew him, so we had a good relationship working together. As time goes by, the ASME code does evolve, and with that, you have to make adjustments and changes to your QC department. You know, technology advances, welding technology, and also new welding processes are introduced over time. So our QC department has to deal with that, and we have to bring our technology up with that industry. We have transitioned into digital radiography, X-ray. That's one of the non-destructive testing methods that we have. We also have advanced our visual inspection program. We have a lot of nice weld gauges, a lot of nice X-ray equipment. We have top-of-the-line digital X-ray equipment to X-ray the welds, to inspect the welds and ensure that top quality that we're looking for. I keep up with the non-destructive testing industry as a whole. I actually have to maintain a level 3 certification, ASNT level 3 certification, and with that comes continuing education. The QC process in obtaining our ASME stamps is very stringent. We need you. The QC process of obtaining our ASME stamps can be very stringent. The ASME manufacturer, such as ourselves, has to have a QC manual. The QC manual dictates step-by-step process that we have to follow for the ASME code. The ASME stands for American Society of Mechanical Engineers. They basically dictate a lot of guidelines and rules that we must follow to manufacture our product. We go through a stringent ASME audit every 3 years triennially. The ASME actually sends a representative to our location, and we spend about 2 days with this gentleman. He goes through our paperwork, he talks to me and all our staff, and he goes through, does a shop tour as well. So he just really looks at our process, our ASME process in depth. During the ASME audit, it is possible you basically get 3 grades: pass, temporary suspension, and fail. So we've been blessed over the years with a good QC team that I've never had to deal with temporary suspension or fail. We've always been successful in passing. But during my tenure, we have done well, and it takes a team effort. Our third-party authorized inspection agency is very important. We use Bureau Veritas. They're international-wide, Bureau Veritas is. There's others, Hartford Steam Boiler, Travelers Inspection Agency, but Bureau Veritas has done us a very good job over the years. We've had them since 2009, I believe, give or take. They know our product very well. Our third-party inspector, Dax Maisto, who you may meet later this morning, he's very instrumental in the third-party inspection. He pours his heart and soul into the inspection and does a very thorough job keeping us safe. He's our third-party inspector who checks behind our inspectors. That's
Perfect.
right.
Well, you all have a common goal.
We all have a common goal to make the best product that we can. That's correct.
So even the people who come in from the outside who are
yes, they find our process to be actually above average. Often we'll have customer inspectors, third-party customer inspectors that the customer will actually hire and send out here, and they'll put us through the ringer too. They'll, just like an ASME audit almost, a short ASME audit. They'll go through our paperwork, they'll go through the shop, look at our welding process, inspection processes,
now,
and whatnot.
Is that especially true for foreign? Because you have to have different...
It is. Our international, because we're in the international market, I see a lot of different types of third-party inspectors that come here, different nationalities and whatnot.
And having your own third party that's not required, but you do that as over and above.
The third party is required by the ASME code. It is required. So when we manufacture a boiler or pressure vessel, at the end we create a very important document, the ASME data report. And on that document, it's kind of like the title to a vehicle in relation to a boiler. It lists all the components of the boiler, how it was assembled, how it was tested, and it's signed by myself and the third party authorized agent.
And that has a QR code or serial number that lives with it?
It has yes, it has a traceability of sorts. It has a boiler serial number and a national board number as well. So the national board entity, National Board of Pressure Vessel Inspectors, is an organization that partners with the ASME, American Society of Mechanical Engineers. They partner together, and the National Board registers every boiler and pressure vessel that a manufacturer makes throughout the world. So that ASME data report is submitted to the National Board, and they keep that on file, and we actually register it through the National Board. Good morning, I'm Blake Lehman, Hurst Boiler Quality Control Manager. This morning I'm going to speak with you guys about NDT methods, non-destructive training methods that we have at Hurst Boiler Company. I want to start with visual inspection. Visual inspection, or VT, is a vital and essential NDT method at Hurst Boiler. It's our most popular NDT method. We must do this on every pressure vessel and boiler that we manufacture from start to finish with the welding inspection, leak testing, etc. So I want to talk a little bit about our visual inspection gauges this morning. And I also have some weld replicas to show you guys. So for example, these are common in the industry, a butt weld reinforcement gauge, and it simply measures the amount of reinforcement that you have on the surface of a butt joint. Also, this is a very popular gauge that we use at Hurst. This is a bridge cam gauge. With the bridge cam, you can measure things like weld leg sizes. For example, you can measure the throat size, for example. Okay, so every weld profile has a weld leg size, a weld throat size, and this is essential to check this. It's very important to the integrity of the weld. And we use a drawing that tells us the size of the weld, so we compare that to the actual weld size. We also have a digital micrometer. A micrometer measures thickness to the 10,000ths of an inch, for example. So we use this a lot of times to check thickness of base metal, tubes, and just any type of material that we have a need to check the thickness on. We also have an analog dial caliper that we often use as well to check various thicknesses of boiler parts. Also, another NDT method that we have here is dipenetrant testing, or PT. This is a testing method that's used to check defects and discontinuities on the surface of a weld, like cracks that are open to the surface, porosity that's open to the surface. So basically we'll spray the dye, and then it'll follow behind with a cleaning agent, and then lastly the developer. So we utilize our dye penetrant process often in this industry. Lastly, I'm going to end with our ultrasound program. So this is a program I brought in just this year, and next month I'm going to take the test to get certified in ultrasound, so we'll have an ultrasound program. Right here we have a Danatronics Eco Pro. This ultrasound flaw detection machine here. And here we have several different kinds of calibration blocks that we use to calibrate the instrument prior to the inspection process. Remember, ultrasound is just like X-ray in the fact that it's volumetric examination. It's three-dimensional. That's our NDT methods in a summary. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Josh Burrows. I'm a quality control supervisor here at Hurst Boiler. I've been here for 12 years. I started in 2014. Actually started in the janitorial crew. I've worked in pretty much every facet, or worn as many hats as you can think of here at Hurst Boiler, from anywhere from our tubing department all the way to piping and even code fabrication, where we fit up a lot of our boilers together. You know, a lot of my job duties tend to gear more towards supervisory. I ensure that our day-to-day goes as it's supposed to. Basically, as far as our quality control inspectors, I ensure that they're performing their duties as they're supposed to, so that way we stay in compliance with whatever ASME requires, our quality control manual requires, and our customers require. So when a boiler comes into fruition, essentially a customer gets with one of our sales reps. They tell us what maybe they require as far as what their boiler requirements are through their own engineering firm or whoever, whatever entity they're using. And what happens then is we receive a sales order. Once we get our sales order, that's issued to our engineering department. Then our engineering department is going to do what's called a material requisition, which gets sent to myself. I go over these material requisitions, and those have to conform to a specific ASME code requirement depending on what the construction code of the boiler or vessel that they're purchasing, whether that be section 1, 4, or 8. Once it goes through this, we'll go over what's called a drawing package, which you'll see through this checklist here. We have 7 or more inspection checklist points where I will go over the drawings and calculations. Once the engineers have done all of their part, where they essentially design the boiler to the customer's needs, and it also has to fit ASME requirements per its construction code. Once this has happened, it's then signed by myself. It's released to our authorized inspector, who is our third-party inspector, Dax Maisto, works for Bureau Veritas. He reviews it, he gives it his blessing, he signs it. Then once this happens, it is then released into the shop. The creation of the boiler is now beginning to come into fruition. So once it leaves here, it'll go to plate prep. They will take the material that's been requisitioned. They will use this material to make all the parts that make up the boiler or vessel. Once it leaves there, depending on its construction code, it will receive NDT from some form or fashion. Right now we use RT for all of our butt joints. For section 1, section 8 if it's required. Once it leaves there, it goes into what's called our fabrication process. Now, once it hits our fabrication process, we will essentially, we do dimensional checks, fit-ups there. Our inspectors are trained to check all of our joint tolerances to ensure that it meets our weld procedure specifications that we have. Basically, we have a weld procedure specification. It lists all the values that the welders have to essentially follow while they're welding. They have to use specific consumables, specific joint tolerances, and everything from amps to voltages. They have to keep all that in line. It's very stringent. There's literally 1/16 tolerances for weld sizes. Does it meet what the engineers have designed the weld to be? Does it meet the certain dimensional tolerances? It's a bunch of different checks. I had to go get certified as a CWI to basically check a lot of these things. One of the bigger changes that happened in 2025 was that they required for whoever was essentially inspecting welds to have a level 2 in BT or a equivalent like a CWI. It's just a very stringent process as far as our external weld and internal weld checkpoints, and that's where we check all the welds and make sure the welds are essentially structurally sound. And once it leaves there for weld, it goes through what's called its hydrostatic test. That's essentially where the boiler is sealed up, has tubes installed. We plug up all the couplings, any openings or nozzles in the vessel. It's filled with water, and it gets hydrostatically tested depending on its construction code, and that can be anywhere from 1.5 times its max available working pressure to 1.3 if it's a section 8. And once it passes, we check all the welds for leaks, any of the tubes for leaks. Once this happens, it gets what's called a certification stamping on it. It's a hard die stamp that's put on the boiler somewhere on the shell. Essentially, most of them want around where the top row of tubes or the lowest point of water is going to be, above the tubes. And once it passes, we essentially give it its certification stamping designator, and that's going to be an S, H, or U. And then once that happens, you also issue it a national board number, and once that happens, your boiler exists. It is essentially a vessel. It's ready to be externally piped. Once it leaves hydro, it goes to external piping, and then they essentially fit it up with pipe, which then it goes through its own little inspection hydrostatic process. And that's going to follow another ASME code, B31.1. Once it goes through there, we do that inspection, make sure none of those joint pipes and pipe joints are leaking. Then once it leaves there, it goes to paint. It's essentially about through its construction process, and once it does all that, we do a data report on it, and when the customer's ready, we send it on its way. After it leaves final weld, it actually does go to post-weld heat treat first, and that essentially relieves all the stress on the welds. Depending on how much weld deposit thickness it has, you'll set it in the oven essentially to reach a certain ambient or a certain temperature in the oven for a specific amount of time. And once it reaches that, it's allowed to cool. And then once it comes out of there, we'll go over what's called a post-weld heat treat chart to ensure that it's in compliance with the ASME code that it's being built to. And then once it leaves there, it goes to our hydro department, which there it's plugged, tubed, and then hydrostatically tested. And once it passes its hydrostatic test, where we check all the welds for leaks, all the fittings for any leaks, and just to assure that the boiler is structurally sound, under pressure, we'll essentially stamp it with a certification designator and a national board number which births the boiler. It is now a boiler.
All right, my name is Dennis Stoffen. I'm the International Sales Director, and I've been working at Hearst for 28 years. Interesting story. I came from upstate New York, and I met with Gene Hearst. Came down, met with Gene Hearst. That's when they had the building down there. And it was a 5-minute interview, and he hired me. And after he hired me, you know, they put me in a conference room. So that's the first place so I'm starting a business in a conference room, and it was, you know, it was tough because you're starting from nothing. And so one of the things I needed was some product. And I had I brought my people with me, and I had a guy from the Middle East, from Egypt. He kept hounding me about a 4-pass boiler. And this is a true story. So he was bugging the heck out of me. So finally I said, okay, what I want you to do is take this 400 series boiler right here. And I said, I want you to call it a 500 series and make it a 4-pass, okay? And I said, just make a few brochures. And that's what he did. He made a few brochures up. He flew from Egypt because he was coming this way anyways. We met with Gene. So we're in Gene's office. We're talking about how we need this 4-pass. We showed him the 500 series, which was this one. All I did was jump a number up. And he had 4-pass on. Nothing was accurate. Gene loved the idea, okay? So the next thing I know, he calls James, gets on the phone, calls James Oliver. James Oliver was in charge of the engineering department. So he calls James. James comes up. We talk about this whole product line and what we needed. Gene said to him, look, I want this done now, okay? Right away. And in 2 months, we had this 500 series done with brochures and everything else. It was amazing. I mean, that's the kind of leader that Gene was. When he decided to do something, it was done like that, and he never went back. And so one of my main problems with developing this boiler industry as far as internationally is shipping. If you can't get stuff in a container, your price can be up to 10 times the amount for just shipping. So say a $5,000 container, if you can't get in a container, you're $50,000, okay? Because a container, you bring the container here, we load it, it goes on a ship, they can stack them. That's why they're so cheap. If it's not that way, you got to bring in a drop deck, bring in the boiler, haul it, then you got to hire a crane, put it on a flat rack, and then onto a ship. So the next boiler I developed was a Euro. It was Tommy, me, and Vaggie. I said, Vaggie, I need something that can go in a container. So he said, okay. And I said, I want to get at least up to a 400 horsepower in a container. And so that's how we came to the Euro, okay? That's how the Euro started. And this Euro Tommy named it a Euro because it's basically a German European design. Vagi is Russian, did all his studies in Russian, Germany type technology. He has like 5 degrees, one's a scientific, and just a marvelous guy. So we developed this. This would go into a, we could take this up to a 400 horsepower. And it had a big furnace. And with that big furnace, you had complete combustion. It was just a great boiler. Then, all right, next we had the vertical tubeless, which we had to stop them at 60. And the reason why is because your flame's going on the outside of the shell. And because of that, they get so hot, you couldn't go over 60 horsepower. So then we came up with the Vic series. This is a tube. It has tubes in it. And anything, we have developed this up to a 300 horsepower and been able to get it in a container. We make it short enough to get into a container. So we can get up to like a 300 horsepower in a container. So it's been a good boiler. It's very good. Then we developed a 250W, okay? This 250W is with these XIDs. Let me show you what an XID tube is. With XID tubes, I don't know if you can see that, but that boiler enabled us, our Nefo in Chile, we were able to sell up to a 1,000 horsepower fit into a container, a 40-foot high cube. I've done that like 3 or 4 times already. And right now I've got some quoted big jobs. So, and this goes all the way up to 2,000 horsepower. So it's a great boiler. One of the other problems I had, okay, when you're doing exports, you got to meet, this is not like domestic. After 9/11, everything changed, okay? And now you get the Commerce Department getting in your business. So what would happen, the Commerce Department, I knew a friend, and this is a true story. He was an exporter out of North Carolina. One morning, he had 6 agents show up to his business and go, here's all the shipments that you've sent. I want to see them all. They're not like the FBI or anything else. They come unannounced. And they spent 4 weeks in his office going over everything. And the fines can go up to millions of dollars. You can get jail time because you're responsible for any product that leaves this facility. I need to know where it's going because there are certain countries you cannot sell to. And if you're caught, I know another company, they had to close their business because they got fined so heavily they closed down. So what I did, I had a gal working for me. Her name was Hannah. She was very smart. I sent her to these office enforcement, U.S. Department of Commerce. And I said, look, my goal is to get you to understand what we got to do to become a compliant. And 2, I want you to become friends with these people. And she did. She was very good at it. She did a great job. She's a very smart girl. She had a master's degree in international business, and she was just, I loved her to death. So what we did, we got all our products so that you didn't have a license. Otherwise, if you didn't do that, so we got EAR 99 on all our products. That means no license. If you had to do a license, it would take probably 6 months. And these people would have to come in on every boiler sale you did. So all our products are without a license through the Office of Enforcement, the Commerce Department. And we can call them. I've used these. We've got all the certificates and everything else. So it's been an interesting trip. The other thing we've done, we were the first ones to sell a huge biomass in the Ukraine that was making power, 6 megawatts of power. And they were burning wood chips. And that boiler's still running today. And everybody thought I was nuts trying to sell this boiler. But I trusted Vagi's designs, and it's still working to this day. We sold 4 or 5 other ones. They also couple of them also have turbines with them. And then the next thing we did, we got into the agave business, okay? That's the tequila business, burning agave and wood chips down in the tequila plants. And we probably got 20, 30 boilers down there, especially Mexico, Latin America. The other thing that we did, down in Guatemala, we had an opportunity to sell some chicken litter boilers. Everybody was against it. Everybody was fighting me. So what I did, this is what I did to get this done. Bruce was fighting me. Everybody was fighting me. They said I'm crazy. But anyways, the guy was in Miami, and I had Bruce go with me. And Bruce went down with me, so Bruce is in front of the customer, and the guy said, "This is what we need." And Bruce said, "We can do it." So because of that meeting, we've got 12 chicken burning boilers down there, all in Guatemala and El Salvador. And from that, they have flown people from the States to go down and see these facilities so that they could duplicate that. And we have other big boilers that are doing the same thing here in the States now. So what I want to say is that this company's been great to work for. You know, I got a great boss. He lets me do my thing. He doesn't bother me. And I just want to say a couple things about Gene Hurst. This company would not be what it is without Gene Hurst. This man, I watched this man. He had courage. He had guts. He had discipline. He was a hard worker. And he would make decisions and never go back. Once he's made a decision, it was done. He was also a very kind guy, and I'll tell you why he was what I'm talking about. If you were coughing in this place, Gene Hurst would show up at your desk with these fisherman cough drops that tasted terrible, but you took them, okay? He really cared about his people. Another thing that happened that really touched my heart was I have a friend that works here. He still works here. I'm not going to mention his name, but he had a quad bypass. And Gene Hurst went to his house every week until he came back to work. And I'll tell you, that to me, what boss do you ever see do that kind of thing? That told you how much he really cared about his people. He loved his people. He was a hard guy, but he was a great guy. He would hold meetings, and I've been to many of his meetings, and he would have everyone given an opportunity to say what they wanted to say. And when you give people those kind of opportunities, what happens? The answer comes to the top. And he would make a decision, and all the troops would follow. He was a remarkable, remarkable man that I just can't say enough about him, what a great leader he was. And without him, this company would not be celebrating the 60th anniversary. He was just a tremendous guy, the Winston Churchill of the boiler company, because he started with nothing. And this is one of the hardest businesses to get into. You know, you got to have stamps, and you got to have welders, and you got to have insurance. It is a difficult business to start from scratch. So it's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure working here, a pleasure working with the Hurst, a pleasure knowing Gene Hurst, and the freedom that they gave me to do what I had to do to build this company, okay, the international division. And I'm just so happy to had that opportunity.
My name is Derek Murphy. I've been here for approximately 12 years, and my job is the design engineer for international sales. I work for Dennis Dolphin. He's the manager of our department. The sales guys will get information from our customers as to what kind of equipment they need. We'll determine the size, and those guys will send me the size they need, and I will take the equipment and design it and place it inside of a building just as this right here. For example, our customer tells us what size the building is. So I will take it and place the equipment in the building to show them a plan view and all the peripheral equipment. And then I'll draw a plan view and we'll go to elevation views. That way the customer can see all the heights inside their building they have. And once I'm done with it, I will send it back to Dennis Dolphin. He will approve it, send it to the customer, and let them review it. Once they review it and approve it, then we send it back and hopefully put it into production. I've known the Hurst family for ever since, honestly, I met Hayward when I was in like the 2nd grade, and I've just been friends with the family ever since then. Dennis Dolphin, of course, our manager, and then there's Eric. I work with him, Eric Rodriguez, and that's basically who is in our department that does the sales part. Then we have Angela Barfield, and also we have Haley Palmer that's in our department. So we are a good team and a good fit. We make everything work. Well, once I'm done here and I've sent it back to Dennis, and he'll send it to the customer to approve the fit and how everything looks, and they want to make sure how everything's going to work properly. And they'll send it back to Dennis and they'll talk about it and if we need to make any revisions. And once I've made it set in stone and we send it back to them, they'll approve it and we'll turn it into a sales order and send it to production.
Hey, my name is Dusty Griffin. I'm the 3D printer specialist engineer over here at the engineering department at Hurst Boiler. And right now I'm printing other parts for boilers that we have in the making right now. We start with Inventor, and that's where all the full design comes from. And then once this is done, we'll break it down into separate parts. I see how it lights up, just a separate part. Like I could open this up. They are dimensionally accurate. What we did is we scaled it down from 100% to 10%. Once that's done, I can move it over to this program to send it to my printers to where everything will be correct and what you see right here. It probably took about 85 hours for this full print from front to back. This one is all different parts. Like you can take this out, this twists and locks in. Instead of hauling these boilers to Las Vegas on 4 semi-trucks, 5 semi-trucks, they can just take the model and then they can interchange any of the pieces that the customer would like for their operation. It's just a scaled down version. This is an exact boiler that's sitting out there. I'll use these 2 machines, but I'll also use my machines at the house to where we can get a lot done at one time. This is all spare parts for when they go to those conventions and say one of these breaks. We have an extra one so they can just plug it right in. Like your sight glasses and stuff, because the handles are the most delicate. They'll break real easy. The piece that we made to make the boilers light up is we created this. We took this little cheap candle from the dollar store apart and made the battery insert here, ran copper wire to the light, and that's how we make the boilers light up and everything to make it look like it's on fire. Whenever they purchase this system, then they'll get a model with it. That way, if they're not familiar with something, they can call us and say, hey, this part on this model is what we need replaced. And then we can say, oh, that's the sight glass. We can get you one out. You know, just makes it a little easier for in the future for us and for the customer.
Hey, I'm Jessie Palmer, and I have been with Hurst Boiler for almost 10 years. Currently, I handle the warranty department at Hurst Boiler. I handle everything regarding warranty, no charges or back charges. I love what I do. I love the people I get to work with. We have amazing customers, and we have amazing vendors as well. So truly, I feel blessed that I get to wake up every day and do something that I love. A new thing that I've started in the past year is dabbling on social media and in the marketing department, and it has been a blast. Whenever I took over social media in June of last year, we were averaging about anywhere between 10 to 20,000 views a month. Now we are averaging around 70 to 100,000 views a month. I actually just received one of our analytic reports back, and in the last 3 months we have received 385,000 views. So that's one of the things that we've been doing, is just reaching out to our customers more, reaching out to our vendors even, photographing the people that come here and the experiences that we get to go through here as well. Something that I'm very passionate about is bringing attention to the people here and the product here and what it's really like to be at Hurstbuller for a day. I just think it's really special and really unique what all we put into this every single day. Because Hurstbuller is essentially like a community in itself. There's a lot of us here, and we all put in our all every single day, and it's incredible to see people from all different walks of lives out here. We've got very young people, as young as 18 and 19, fresh starting, and then we have people up in their 70s that have retired 3 times and want to come back, and we love every single person just the same. It's like a family up here. It always is. All I can hope in the next 60 years is to stay honest, stay humble, and stay hungry. Just keep driving for more, because that's the Hurstbuller way. Something that I feel sets Hurstbuller aside and always has is that we keep things extremely personal. Regardless what department you're in or what department you're working with, we really have a personal touch to it every single time. It's very common in today's world to call and get an automated service and to get stuck in that system. And here at Hurstbuller, that's never going to be the case. You're going to get a receptionist first, and they are going to direct you exactly to who you need, and if that person happens to be busy, you will get a prompt call back. It's the same in warranty. You don't have to fill out complicated forms or log into a portal. You simply reach out with your job number and let us know what's going on, and we take it from there. In warranty, we follow the process extremely closely to make sure nothing falls through the cracks and nothing is left hanging, and to ensure that our customer gets their credit and evaluation in the fastest manner as possible. And then on the service side, I've been super lucky to work with them for the past 10 years as well, and they are just incredible. Through warranty, I hear a lot about our service guys on the startups and stuff, and people just have nothing but kind things to say about them. They're exceptional, they're helpful, they go above and beyond, and in today's world, it's very uncommon to be able to call a cell phone, pick up, and get an answer right then and there, and walk through it and have a solution by the end of the phone call. But at Hurstbuller, that's what you're gonna get. We take great pride in taking care of our customers, and we take great pride in working together as a team every day to ensure that our customers get the best of the best from us.
I think that's
Very good.
My name is Missy Tucker.
And you've worked here for how long?
19 years. My husband was the truck driver here at the time, and so I just wanted to get my foot in the door. So I came in as the housekeeper. It was like the perfect Cinderella story, where I started off as cleaning the floors, and now I am where I am. We buy the parts that go on the boilers, along with the people we have helping in the department. It is our job to try to save money where we can. That's the most important job, other than getting parts here, but trying to save the money we can. But Mr. Gene, he was a very sweet man, very sweet man. He was considerate, he was thoughtful. You always knew if he had on a white shirt that you didn't bother him. Those were the serious days. He was like a bright light, and I was always in awe of him. I looked at them and the work ethic that they had. It just made me want to be better. They talk to you. They don't just treat you like you're their employee. We are not just a number. We are a name, and they do call us family. I'm proud to be a part of a company that has been around for 60 years, that is dedicated in serving the community and the people that make up this company. There's no place I'd rather be. This is home. So I hope nothing happens and I don't go anywhere. I couldn't see being anywhere else in my professional life.
Nathan Hayes, I'm from Thomasville, Georgia. I came from actually Coastal as a maintenance electrician, Coastal Plywood, and I worked on Hurst boilers there for about 4 to 5 years. and we did all the electrical and controls over there, and we brought that over here, and we're using that as our, what we do here at Hearst. We used Siemens software over there at Coastal, so that actually integrated over here with us, so it worked well for us to come in here and actually already know what we're doing and what we're working with. Hearst definitely elevated our knowledge of controls for sure, since it's light years from when I started here. This month will be my 3rd year with Hearst. Great company to work for, family company, love it here. We went from a big corporate to a family-owned company, and love it. The first Fridays, everyone gets together, prayers before we eat, you can just tell it's a family joint, so love it. And went from, rules, it's just different. When you go to from a corporate to a family, you can tell different from everything, how they handle their employees. And we'll do the drawings. Dusty's actually the main drawer for all of our prints, and then that rolls over to these guys back here, and they build our panels, and then they take the panels and I will program them and test them, and before they leave, I'm basically like quality control, I would say, and before they leave, they're fat tested, good to go, and it should be A-okay. We're working in jobs in Mexico, big tequila plants with our boilers in them, and we're working with them. They're burning like agave to make their tequila. It's pretty cool. Yeah, but we can jump into their panel all the way in Mexico and see what they got going on. If they got any problems, we troubleshoot their issues over here in Thomasville, Georgia. Good to know they've been here that long and are still growing and succeeding, so nice to be a part of it.
My name is Ray Pierce, and I worked at Hearst Boiler for about 34 years. I worked with another boiler manufacturer for 6 years prior to coming to Hearst Boiler. And when I first came to Hearst Boiler, we were starting off. They had just manufactured a few boilers, so we didn't have any real presence in the marketplace. They brought me on to build a manufacturer's rep network, which I did both nationally and internationally. We actually didn't have any literature. Our first literature when I came here was photocopies of somebody else's literature with our name on it. But Gene gave me a budget of $300 for our very first piece of literature. And we produced a 2-color, we called it 3-color because silver didn't count. And we produced our first literature for $300. And it turned out to be pretty good, actually. And then we produced some more literature and branded the different product lines that we were going to manufacture and started building the manufacturer's network from there. When I came to Hearst Boiler, I already had 6 years of experience in the boiler manufacturing business and sales. So I already knew a lot of people in the industry. And it's not just manufacturers, reps. You have allies in the industry, burner manufacturers, control manufacturers. So it's a small network of people. It's a niche market in the industrial market in the United States. There's probably 1,200 people total in the boiler manufacturing industry. So when you go to trade shows and things like that, you run into people that are friends that you'll make that'll last a lifetime. Gene was a natural salesman in his own right, a good people person. So it was easy to get to like Gene, and Gene had a lot of good friends. A lot of his customers were friends of his. And initially, Hearst Boiler got started manufacturing boilers from customer bases that he had in seafood processing, crab plants, sawmills, that sort of thing. And these were all old friends of his, and when it got time to buy a boiler, they'd come back to Gene and buy a new boiler. There's one thing about all businesses that are successful, it depends on the people who are part of the business and work there, and Hearst Boiler's been very fortunate to have some of the most talented people that you could ask for. Some of the best people in the industry have worked at Hearst Boiler. I look at our young people and see how talented they are, how educated they are. Having been brought up in the industry, I don't see how they could do anything except succeed. But we've seen a great deal change in the last 50 years with technology, artificial intelligence. All these things are things we don't really know too much about yet as to where we will be in the boiler business, but I think it'll be a positive impact. I think Hearst Boiler has great potential to continue on to be very successful. Continue to do all the right things, do right by your customers, produce a product that's better than expected, deliver more than they paid for, and continue to offer great customer service, and then you can't fail.
I'm Ricky Bracewell. I'm Director of Manufacturing. I've been at Hurst Bowler since July of '86. That puts me getting close to 40 years. I kind of started off at the bottom when I first started here and worked my way up the management chain. I started off as a shear operator and worked my way through fabrication, welding, management, supervisory skills, and to where I'm at today as director of manufacturing. My experience with Mr. Hurst was I met him the day I walked in the door to even apply for a job. I knew his sons, his daughter, and Mr. Hurst told our plant manager then to hire me, get me started, and we would take it from there. On my third annual review, that my goal in life was to have his job when he retired. Well, it actually happened. And I thank Mr. Hurst for that, because he took me under his wing and showed me the ropes of the bowler world. It was just a great experience, and it's still a great experience today. I learn things new every day. I work with a great group of people in the office and in the shops. I take a lot of pride in our people that we have that work here. I help all of them out as much as they ask, as much as they need. I give a lot of advice. I go over and do final inspections on products when they're completed to make sure everything's on them before they ship out. I help out with shipping, engineering, designing, and I give all that credit to Mr. Hurst, because he's the one who really taught me how to do all this stuff, taught me what to look for. You know, anything that makes it easy on myself and the people that's actually doing the manufacturing, that was his goal. Make it easy on yourself. And I've really pushed that for the last 20 something years with the guys out in the shops about how to build stuff, how to weld stuff, how to put the electrical on, doing burner mountings and stuff like that. So it's been an experience that I really enjoyed. Hurst Bowler is different. It's a different world than your big corporate worlds out there. It's a family-owned business, and everybody works together. Nobody's afraid to communicate with a different department, and I preach that and I push that on everybody here. One department, this plant back here feeds off of those plants up there. If those plants up there, their job is to build equipment and send back here for final assembly. So every building around Hurst Bowler feeds this back plant, and these guys work great together. Well, I want to congratulate the Hurst and Hurst Bowler for the 60th anniversary. It's been a great time for them. It's been a great time for us, and all the employees really enjoy it here. Most of the ones that's been here a long time.
My name is Samantha Rowell, and I work in our accounting department. I handle our inventory, insurance, and trucking. One of the best perks at working here at Hurst Bowler is having an on-site clinic. We just this year built this new clinic. It just opened, I guess about a month ago. It opened, and we're extremely excited about it. You don't have to clock out to go to the doctor. For most of your doctor visits, you get it handled here. All of your blood work, and we have a doctor, a nurse practitioner, and I think we have 3 nurses on site. So it's nice to have. It's open 3 days a week.
That's what I was going to ask you next. What are the days that it's going to be open?
So it's open on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Tuesdays and Fridays we have providers here, and then on Thursdays we consider that the nurse day / blood draw day. So that's the day you get any of your blood work, or if you just need to see the nurse for something, you can come up here. And it's usually open until 2:30 in the afternoon. Anything that happens here at the clinic is at no charge. You do still have to pay for diagnostic. Yes, we are very close to the highway, and that's the traffic noise. But it's here on site. We're conveniently located to everyone here at Hurst Bowler. It's been here for 60 years. That's that's a big accomplishment, and very thankful for Mr. Gene and Miss Edna who started the business. Very thankful to be a part of this business, because here you get treated like family, no matter if you're a Hearst or not. Hearst is in good hands. I feel like it's not going anywhere. We have nothing but a bright future to look ahead, and boilers sell every day, and we've got it down pat.
Hello, my name's Roddy Suber. I've been here at Hearst Boiler. I just celebrated my 10-year anniversary. I love working here. I'm in aftermarket sales and service. Yeah, here in aftermarket sales, I take phone calls, emails. We have website requests that we get parts requests on, and we either call or email the customers back. We help our hybrid customers. We help our gas fire boiler customers with any parts needs that they may have. Even if it's burner parts, we can assist them with those as well. Anything from screws on a hybrid to bolts on a handhold plate. Even the tubes. If you have a tube failure on your boiler, or if you're working on somebody's boiler, it's a Hearst and they have a tube failure, we will cut the tubes to length of the original length of the boiler, and we will sell you the code stamp tubes that you need to be welded on the inside of the boiler. Yes, sir. You can go through our service department and you can hire our service guys to come out. We will completely service your boiler. We'll retube your boiler. If you just need to be tuned up, we'll come out and send a service tech to tune your boiler up to make sure it's running at its peak efficiency. Anything that you need us to accommodate you with, we'll be more than happy to help you. There's certain things on the pressure vessel. If you're working on the pressure vessel itself, even if I sold you tubes, they have to be coated tubes, and they have to have the paperwork proving where they came from, how the process they went through to get to you. So there's paperwork for those. There's certain items that I sell you that have to be coated, and sometimes, depending on the extent of the work, you'd have to have an inspector come out to the job site and look at items and inspect them visually before filling out any paperwork on them, agreeing that they agree with the stamp and restamp the boiler. They'll x-ray the welds. Sometimes if it's in the field, they'll field x-ray them. They have to make sure that they have 100% on their welds, so you don't want any failures to happen. At the trade shows, I will assist in talking about our control systems that we have. We have the FireMaster control system, the Biomaster, and the OxyMaster. I will talk to you about aftermarket sales. I will talk to you about anything you would like to speak about Hearst Boiler. That's why we're there. We're there to promote Hearst Boiler and to talk to our customers and our representatives that are at the show as well. And I actually enjoy being able to put a face with the name that I get to talk to on the phone. I get it all the time from the Gator fans, the Bulldog fans, the Hurricane fans. Everybody gives me problems, but I'm a fan. I'm not like a bandwagon fan. I've been a fan my entire life, so I'm sticking with us through thick and thin. I'm extremely proud to be a part of the Hearst Boiler team. Us celebrating the 60-year anniversary is a source of pride for me, and I hope that I'm here to see the next golden anniversaries that we're going to have and experience as a company. You know, this is a family-owned company, and when you work here, you're treated like family. Whether that is good or bad, you have to take the good with the bad. If you're a family, you're not always going to get along. There's going to be some things that you don't like, but the goods always outweigh all the bads. It's wonderful to be able to go around and speak to people that are making the decisions here at Hearst Boiler. If you see something that you can improve on, you can go straight to somebody and speak to them on it, and they will implement any good ideas that you come up with. It's just a great atmosphere to be in, and I'm proud to be a part of a team that works together. You know, everybody's important here. Nobody is seen as irrelevant. If you're a part of this team, you're important. We work as one big body here, and I'm more than happy to be here. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. There's been things when I was working in the panel shop, I implemented some changes, and all I had to do was present the idea to my superior and tell them why it was a good idea and why it would save us money or save us time or whatever, And the idea was met with, you know what, that's a great idea. Let's implement it. In the corporate world, like you're talking about, it would have taken a year, 2 years to implement such a small change that make a huge difference. So that is part of the reason I love the family-owned business versus a corporate-owned business.
My name is Caroline Taylor. I began working for Hearst in 2002, and I worked for 19 years. I was in the accounting department directly under Terry White as in finance. I worked for the accounting firm that did Mr. and Mrs. Hearst income taxes and Hearst Boilers income taxes before I came here. And I ran into Terry uptown shopping, and she said, Caroline, we're going to hire. If you want this job, it's yours. And so I thought about it. I know Hearst, when they hire, people stay. And it was an opportunity that I either took or lost. So I came and interviewed, and we negotiated, and I started. It was very familiar. The people were already known to me. The business was known to me. And so, yes, it was home. And I'm one of those who retired and came back and retired and came back. I did it twice.
So it came back here to Hearst?
Yes. The first time I retired, I kept the keys to the office and things on a long key ring, and I'd wear it around my neck so I wouldn't lose them. When I came back, one of the ladies in my department handed my key ring to me. They had not even gotten rid of it. They had kept my keys, assuming that I probably would come back. The main thing I can say about Mr. Gene and Miss Edna was that they were amazing leaders. They expected you to do your job. They didn't micromanage you, but they led by example. They worked so hard to grow the business that you didn't want to disappoint them. That was my thing. I could not have stood to disappoint them. I wanted to do excellent work. I regarded the well-being of this company as a responsibility and took my work seriously. But we had fun. I'm pleased. I don't doubt that Hearst will continue because they've got good leadership. The four siblings that are running the company now are turning it over to their children. They're training them. There's a lot of employee loyalty. Hearst is really good at inspiring employee loyalty. They motivate their people, and the people want to stay. So I think they'll just continue right on. Yes, he did. He was hardworking. He was ethical. He was innovative. He came in and he wanted a good product, and he required a good product, and so and he was very he appreciated your work. He thanked me a lot. He would walk down the hall every day and speak to me, and he would thank me for what I was doing. Oh yes, I felt like I mattered. Miss Edna hugs me every time she sees me, and Mr. Gene didn't do that, but he would shake my hand, and but you knew by the way they looked at you and smiled at you that they were glad you were here, and they had confidence in you.
And Pawpaw was he wanted somebody to be there, didn't he?
He wanted somebody to be there 24 hours a day because we were just getting started.
And it was important to answer those phones for business.
That's right. He didn't want to miss it.
Now, he would get calls and he had to go over, you told me y'all would get in the car, in the station wagon with the whole family. Can you tell me about that?
Oh, yeah. He said the boilers, wasn't working during the day, nighttime. And so he had to work on the boilers when they called him at night.
And you pack the kids up.
Pack the kids up. We had a big station wagon, and we put quilts in the back, and y'all slept while the boys slept, and Terry, she slept too. But
Who was driving?
I drove most of the time because he wanted to sleep where he could be fresh when we got there.
And so when y'all got there, were the kids, what did the kids do when y'all were on site at these boiler places?
I would take them maybe to the ocean if it was close to it, and take the children out there. We couldn't afford anything else. But
It was a good start. Y'all met some good people down there.
yes, we did. The coast made us very well. And
those steam houses down at the coast.
The boilers.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Well, you're doing great. You're doing great. So what do you remember about what happened that made Hurst Boiler move to Coolidge? What do you remember about that? Why did it go to Coolidge?
We had built a small place in Thomasville, first behind our house, and Thomasville run us out there because it was a business. And so we went to, I've forgotten the others right now, but anyway.
Dad said over by the park where the train tracks were.
Yeah.
But y'all were just there for a short time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a quick question. Haley showed me the letter that you guys got. It's still not even folded, where they told you you can't run your business out of your house. Do you remember getting that letter?
I sure do.
Well, what was that? Were you angry or were you upset? What was the situation?
Both. Really, because we had, we worked at night because he had another job. And he worked at night, and people around about where we were, they couldn't sleep.
So they complained.
So they complained, and he said he was going to get far enough out of the city where nobody else would take that away from it. But he did. He got the booms. They were the
moved out to the boonies.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
That's quite a story. Do you remember who it was that complained about you?
Oh, yeah, but I'm not going to tell you.
That sounds like Grandma. Yeah. Well, y'all sure showed them.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good move in the end.
It was a good move.
That was here, right?
Now, were the boys, when you guys were doing boiler work out in the shed, did they hang from the rafters and stuff? Were they helping, or were they just getting in the way?
They helped, and they played a little bit too.
Well, they're boys.
Yeah, but those boys, some of those boys are still with us, and it's amazing.
It's really amazing. This 60 years, has it gone by really fast for you?
Yes, it has.
It feels like it just was yesterday. You were just starting out, right?
Right. I can see the kids now coming in, and they're grown, telling me what to do and how they did it. But we were, oh gosh, God blessed us greatly, because we will run out of town. We were.
Well, it's a good thing that Mr. Jean made good boilers, cause if he's not good boilers, they wouldn't let you.
That's right. He did. If it was any, he checked the boilers himself when they were going out of, out to be in, installed. He checked everything. But
He had high standards.
yeah, he did. I don't know.
How did, so you tell me sometimes about the boys helping Pawpaw back in the early days on Fletcher Street. Can
Oh.
you tell me about that?
Yeah, teenagers would, he'd pay teenagers to come in and do things, like clean up or sticks, put brick, to get it together.
To insulate the boilers
Yeah.
and stuff. You probably needed a small person to get inside those things.
Right.
Did Jeff do that? Jeff?
Did Uncle Jeff help? Did he get inside the boilers when he was smaller and help with the insulation?
Yeah, some.
He did some.
Yeah, but he was into
He was
the smallest.
He was the youngest.
Yeah.
Yes, that might have came in handy sometimes.
Yeah.
Now you told me a funny story about Dad when he was in high school. Can you tell me where they called him? They called you at home, and they said, "We need somebody to work on the boiler." Do you remember that? And he was in class, and they pulled him out of class. You remember that?
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
It was.
But yeah, he did know some of it, and he thought he knew this, and he did. He went and did it. Got it going.
Now I hear from some people that Terry, even when she was in high school, she kind of took over things. Was she running things?
Yeah.
Did she get that from you, or did she get that? Where'd she get that?
She gets from Jean Hurst.
So is there? So was she the one that kind of kept the boys in line at the house to help you out?
Yeah. We both did.
That sounds like that'd be a hands full job. 24
It was
hours.
when you had but we got started with kids, children. They were at except ours. They had to do it before they were. What?
And y'all always tell me y'all try to treat your workers well. Can you talk about that?
Yes, we fed them about 4 or 5 times a year in a whole place. And when they went on place, oh gosh, I wish.
That's okay. That's okay. You know, sometimes success isn't all straight up. Sometimes you have some hard times
Right.
along the way. Is there anything you can think of that maybe when things weren't going as well, then y'all persevered?
Well, the time that Thomasville ran us out of there. But
Coolidge has been good to us, though.
Coolidge has been good, and yes, they ran us out because they worked at night. young boys come in after school, and they would work, and
I noticed y'all hired a lot of friends of the family early on.
yes, yes.
Why don't you go ahead and show her some of the pictures, see what her memories.
I only brought one.
You brought one?
'Cause I just didn't have a lot, but this is a picture of a time I remember where you worked in the office with Aunt Terry and Denise. What do you remember about that time?
Well, not much.
Ask her like how she feels about you guys coming along now with the grandkids coming.
Oh,
coming into the
I
business.
am so happy.
I think so.
I think it's a big thing that
That to carry on the vision
Right.
that Gene had. 'Cause it
Right.
was always his dream to have a
Right.
family.
Can you say that too? Carry on the vision that Gene had?
Yeah. Let's carry on yes. And young boys would come in and want to work, and he would hire them, and he'd pay them right what that he had. And he never tried to cheat anybody out of anything. So
That's who Mr. Hurst was.
He was a good man.
he was, and I've seen him walk and talk to the men in the shop or outside, and they had just started to work because they said that they didn't have any job, and Gene would give him their money and take them under his wing, and we had another one.
No, we hear that from everyone.
So it'd be nice if you could ask her what a favorite memory that she might have.
Okay, yeah. What do you think?
Granny, do you have a favorite memory at Hurst Buller? Maybe something you hold close to you?
Oh,
There's probably so many.
you know.
That's what I think. There's so many.
Yeah, it's a lot, but most of all is when, after being run out of Thomasville, we went and everybody says, he's not gonna make it, he's not gonna make it. Well, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Proved wrong.
Proved wrong, yeah.
And you're still proving them wrong today.
And we're still here.
Right.
He had a vision, and I don't think he could have done it without your support.
Well, I run my family. I had a big bus like, and he called and want something delivered me to bring it to it. Now here I jumped in the car, and they jumped in the car with their books, and here we go. Yeah.
Haley,
I think that's good.
the one thing she tells me all the time is that they couldn't have done it without the Lord. She always
Yes,
tells me that.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
They put him, the Lord first.
Yes.
Yes, but the Lord came first, and we were blessed. Yeah.
That's true. That's
okay.
a big part of why Hurst
It-
succeeded from
She
the
always
beginning.
tells me that too.
We just did what we had to do to raise a family.
And treat people right.
And to I've seen Gene pull the last dollar bill out of his pocket and give it to somebody that didn't have anything. So,
That's part of the family values here.
yeah, and it's still, we are hoping ours are doing it.
Back.
I think that's good.
I think that's good.
Thank you.
Well, my name's Terry White. I'm the daughter of Gene and Edna Hurst, the only girl with 3 brothers. So we grew up on 614 Fletcher Street, And my dad, he worked for another boiler company.
Right, okay.
And they had promised him a raise to move back from Orlando. So we come back from Orlando to Thomasville. But after 2 months, he never got his raise. So Daddy decided to go in business by himself. So he started doing repairs down at the coastlines and the Panhandle and a lot of places, and to make a living. That eventually got well enough that he built the building behind our house at 614 Fletcher Street. And then we rented a place on Susie Way, which was in not a good place. But anyway, it was a bad neighborhood. Then he decided we were moving to the country. His boys needed to live in the country. So we moved here November the 2nd, 1970. And he built the first building. And all we did was repairs and rebuild boilers. You know, we'd buy old boilers and then fix them up and resell them. He and his two brothers went in the business in the beginning together. And then I say it was too hard of work for them to do. They were lazy. So he bought them out, and which is very little buyout because there was very little money. But he bought both of them out, and then he hired a couple of people. I remember one was named Rayford, one was named something Thomas, or whatever. And then as it got older, Tommy and his friends started working. So we repaired boilers and did service and different stuff that had to be done. And then my brother and my dad got together and decided we could build boilers. Tommy joined Hearst in 1970. He didn't graduate until 75. I come to work in August of 76. So this August will be 50 years. And I love every bit of it. I don't ever feel like it's work. I get aggravated, but you know, I work with a lot of family. Well, right now I have 2 nieces, a nephew, and my son that works here. When I came on, I had taken an accounting class in high school. Mm-hmm. So I come and helped my mom, because Mama had some business. But
that's right. Mm-hmm.
So I started in accounting, learning, doing bank reconciliations and different stuff. And I wasn't good enough, according to our new CPA. So I had to go take some classes, mm-hmm. which was the best thing that I ever did. We all respect one another, and everybody has their own unique piece of the pie. Takes all of us. Tommy's his specialty is sales. Hayward's installation and manufacturing. Jeff's obviously is marketing. And then I'm finance. It's unique. It really is very unique. The 4 of us, we get along. We love one another. Do we have bad days with one another? We do. I've lived boilers my entire life. About when Tommy was little, he would take the labels off the cans and he'd ride them around on his truck. So I've been in boiler. I've been in a men's world forever. We're family here at Hearst Boiler, and it's not just the Hearst family. We consider everybody family. We have people, multiple people, that have been here 25 plus years. Several that have been 30, 35, 40. We treat everybody like family. We have grown from being Tommy's friends to getting other people to work, and then we started manufacturing boilers and have grown into our 3rd building when we started manufacturing. And now we have several buildings, and we have a huge, wonderful plant in the back. And most people don't even know the corporate office is back there. You can't tell it's not part of the building. We moved our house. It used to be where engineering is. So we moved it on Clyde Griffin Road and built, that was our first corporate building. Oh, I'm proud to say we just got a new clinic. So we have a clinic on site for our employees if they're covered by the insurance. It's not for workman's comp, and it's not just for anybody. And their families come there as well. We have a PA and a nurse practitioner and a nurse on Tuesdays. And on Thursdays, we just have the nurse, and that's when they do all the blood draws and the testing that they need to do. And then Fridays we have a DO, Dr. Brady Warren, which is great. And she likes it so much. She wants to be part of the family. She gives you your cell number. What doctor gives you a cell number? They don't have to clock out to go to the doctor. They just go to the doctor, so you don't have to take off work. Yeah, we started, I guess, a couple of years ago. Started having First Fridays. And the first Friday, we feed the entire plant at lunch. And we used to give annual awards away at the Christmas celebration. But we decided to do it monthly. That way, if you've been here 10 years in January, you don't have to wait until December to get it. This past Friday, there was one 5-year, one 10-year, 4 25, and a 30. Well, a family business is different. It is different to work for. You have to, some people it makes them comfortable. Some people embrace it. We had we hired an operations manager, and he didn't understand family. He was only from the corporate side. So he would tell us what all we were doing wrong and everything. So finally I just told him, don't come in my office if you don't have anything good to say. Because it's family. And I'm not going to ask my brothers to clock in. Are you kidding me? But well, he no longer works here because he couldn't get the family thing. He loves us as family, but he just couldn't do the family business. Because we embrace everybody like they're ours, and they do us. But I'm so grateful and blessed to have been part of this family and part of the growing and the moving into the next generation. I'm glad that we've made it 60 years. There's been ups and downs, a lot of growing pains, but so much to be blessed. The Lord has blessed us. Our employees have blessed us. I'm thankful for my dad and my mom and them bringing us in. And now we got multiple generations. This is the third generation. It's got 4 working here. We plan to continue to be a family business and to continue to have my dad's value. So I'm proud that I've been here 50 years. I don't feel like I've been working for 50 years because this is my life. I love it. I love bowlers. Well, not really bowlers, but I like what a bowler brings. Right. But we call it as the bowler burns around here. But I'm just blessed to have been here 50 of the 60 years.
I'm Jeff Hurst with Hurst Bowler and Welding Company. I'm the marketing director. I've been at Hurst Bowler all my life. It was in my backyard growing up. And we're honored this year to be celebrating our 60th anniversary in 2027. And we look forward to moving forward with the next generation in our town, with our kids and everything coming into the business. And, it's just an honor to see that my father's dream is still going forward. It's been 60 years talking about moving forward with everything that we've done. The milestones we've been able to accomplish has been something else. Being a privately held company without a big board, we're able to really do a lot of things. But we had a humble beginning in Fletcher Street in Thomasville, Georgia in 1963. Started the business and then we moved to here to Coolidge, and now we surpassed a 40-acre campus here, 250,000 square foot under roof, right at 300 employees. Talking about, and just being able to keep it going has been a really great thing. We got to keep it moving forward. We had to keep the engineering going, keep up with the competitors, and just keep everything going. Hurst was built by the people, between my parents, my brothers, my sister, our employees, and the trust of our customers kept us moving forward. We strive to be the Boilermaker to the world, and we're still growing, and so we look forward to more years of continued. I worked in the quality control department. I learned the X-ray department. Talking about I was a level 2 radiographer. Then I moved into sales for 15 years. And then learned the sales market under Ray Pierce, and It was, I brought on Dennis Dolphin at another time, and for the international side of it, me and Dennis had worked together while he worked for another boiler company. And whenever the other boiler company got mad at us, I asked Dennis, "Hey, why don't you come to work for us?" And he said, "I thought you never asked." Correct. He worked with anybody, talking about, and he wouldn't ask you to do anything that he wouldn't do himself. Yeah, we've been very fortunate that, we've got a lot of good people here. A lot of people work from the ground, from, being the custodian, and now they got office jobs and working the executive departments. He worked with you in any way he could. He backed you. He would bail you out of jail if you needed it. Like I said, we're the Boilermaker to the world, and we continue to grow. We got the next generation coming up. We got Chad and Cliff and Haley and Jesse already working here, and then the fourth generation is working its way up too. Well, we hope to see everybody in Chicago next year for our 60th anniversary at ASHRAE and see what new products we have on the floor. It's a sales tool. It'd be great to have on your desk to talk about, our marketing started with Harriet Loveland, at Thomas Register back in the day, talking about, and we did a dominance program with Thomas and took over the whole Thomas Register program, on the boiler side. And then when they got rid of Harriet, we hired Harriet, and she's been with us ever since. We're ready for Chicago already. We've got our brunch is already situated. We got our booth already. We're still figuring out what we're going to show. We have a new product line coming out, and we hope to have it in time for January of next year.
Hi, I'm Chad Fletcher, Director of Aftermarket Sales and Purchasing here at Hurst Boiler. I wanted to take some time to share with y'all a little bit about our aftermarket sales department. But first, most important, is I want to share a little bit about Hurst's history from the eyes of a child growing up. Today, we're standing in the middle of our 36-acre campus. But I don't see the buildings and the people and everything that everybody sees when they come here. I see open land where I'm standing now, where I played as a kid on old machinery. I see my grandparents' house sitting up on the other side of the pond. I see the house that I was brought home to as a child, and the house that used to be on site that I brought my two daughters home as babies from the hospital. The history's not just about the boiler, but the family history between our employees and the Hurst family itself is more than anybody could ever imagine, and it's my true love to share what I know about this place. Hi, I'm Chad Fletcher, Director of Aftermarket Sales and Purchasing here at Hurst Boiler and Welding Company. But most importantly, I'm a third generation Hurst. So this place to me is where I grew up. I don't see the big buildings and the many people. What I see is a family home. My grandparents' house that used to be on the other side of the pond out in front of the corporate office. I see the house that I was brought home to that's no longer here that used to be our health clinic. I see the home that I brought my two children home from the hospital to. But now today, we're surrounded by hundreds of thousands of square foot of manufacturing facility and hundreds of employees. Today I stand in a place that I used to play, but today it's a place where we make boilers that go all around the world. So let me take a little bit of time to also talk to you about our aftermarket part sales. And then we can do the rest of it. Hi, I'm Chad Fletcher, Director of Aftermarket Sales and Purchasing here at Hurst Boiler. Also, more than anything, a proud third generation Hurst. Today I stand on history, not just buildings, but to me, I see the place I played as a child. My grandparents' house that used to sit on the other side of the pond. The house that used to be here where I was brought home as a child, and also the house where I brought my two daughters home as children from the hospital. I'm standing on land that I used to play on. Used to play chase with cousins. But today we're all family. Thousands of square foot of manufacturing facility and hundreds of employees. Boilers going around the world. It's amazing to see what I've seen in the last 47 years of my life. A little bitty small building grow to something so humongous and so huge. But let me take a little chance to introduce you and talk to you a little bit about our aftermarket sales. Hi, I'm Chad Fletcher, Director of Aftermarket Sales and Purchasing here at Hurst Boiler and Welding. Not only that, I'm a proud third generation Hurst. This family means so much to me. Today we're standing in the middle of our campus, but to me, it's home. I remember the times where my grandparents' house was across the pond in front of our corporate office. The house that I was brought home to as a child, and the house that I brought my 2 daughters home to as babies from the hospital. But today we stand in the middle of 30 plus acres, thousands of square foot of manufacturing facility, and hundreds of employees. Today we're servicing the world, and we're doing that from little bitty Coolidge, Georgia. Thanks to each and every one of you. I want to take the time to talk to you a little bit about our aftermarket sales department also. So what are the advantages of having spare parts in an end user's inventory? Redundancy, to decrease downtime and avert a crisis situation. There's a higher cost up front with stocking the shelves, but there's a much better cost saving on the back end with no downtime. Specialty built items that we also supply with our equipment have longer lead times. Hearst stocks multiple items, everyday items common to all boiler types, from low water cutoffs, brass rods, sight glass assemblies, gaskets, valves, from multiple manufacturers. We can take care of any boiler, any unit, anywhere. Electrical components, from drives to screens. Solid fuel cast iron components for all boiler types, including Hearst and others. Plus specialty built items and one of the largest inventories of boiler tubes on the East Coast. So what type of items should the customer stock? And how do I go about contacting the Hearst, and what is the right way? First and foremost, before contacting the local sales rep or Hearst Boiler, great information to have is your Hearst Boiler job number, your serial number, your national board number for easy access for people at Hearst that'll be helping you. Common components, long lead time items, and the solid fuel clusters, I'd suggest the same. I lost myself. Job numbers. So, easy access boiler data. Long lead time items like pumps and VFDs, and solid fuel customers with your stoker screws, meter screws, or replacement grates and retorts. The main goal is to keep downtime to the minimum. Having common parts on the shelf can turn the irons and the presses off running in a strip mall dry cleaners to a multi-million-dollar facility like food processing or hospitals. Time down is money wasted and lost. Keeping an eye on your maintenance and having critical parts inventory keeps the system operational and running smooth. Lead times on items can run from stock to months out, so consult your local sales rep you purchase your Hearst boiler from, or contact Hearst directly and we'll help you out. Upfront costs might be high, but in the end, you're the win.
Okay.
Keeping spare parts on the shelf. The upfront cost might be a little higher, but the lost downtime and lost working hours is going to save you money in the end. I've enjoyed 47 years here at Hearst Boiler and with this family, and I'm looking forward to another 60 years after we celebrate our 60th anniversary this year.